カウンター。
How did we get here? Hi guys, it's Dante from the Anime Underworld, and today for this Friday video, I wanted to talk about something that's a little more universal when it comes to animation fans, and that is, of course, the cursed studio change. If there's one thing that many fans of animation, especially of Japanese anime, can agree on, is that when a show is halfway through production and a studio change occurs, it's either for the best or to the detriment of a franchise's popularity. Yeah, if you're the creator of a show and your animation studio changes, you better get on your knees, pray to your deity, and count your blessings. If you're a fan, you better do the same thing, because this could go either good or bad, and most of the time, it tends to be bad. Strangely, this happens a fair amount of times in Japanese animation, where it seems very rare that Western shows change studios, because, well, the same people who've been around and know show best, the animation style, how the characters look, the world designs, they just stick around, so it's easier. I mean, imagine if SpongeBob or Has-Been Hotel swap studios as some anime do in Japan. In rare instances, a studio swap can be handled pretty well. As animation gets better over time, the styles can be improved upon. I mean, look at Fairy Tail's first season, which was co-produced by A1 Pictures and Satellite, compared to Season 2 with A1 Pictures and Bridge Animation. Comparing Season 1 and 2, the animation style looks a lot more clean and updated. Granted, you can notice the changes in tone. Like in Season 2, Bridge was using slightly darker tones on everyone's colors, where Satellite was much brighter and more colorful. I mean, just look at the Tartaros arc compared to the Season 1. It was practically animated with everyone having a slightly gray hue to their original color palette. It's not just Fairy Tail, the anime giant Attack on Titan underwent a studio change from Wit Studios after Season 3 to MAPPA. And the change is a little noticeable, but it wasn't really much to complain about. Granted, the CGI Titans were probably a little weird if you really focused on these dang things. If given enough time, a new studio can really come close to the original art style that many fans are accustomed to. They can come very close, but also improve upon it so that the eyesores any fan is fearful of is not there or barely noticeable. And that's a good thing. Sadly, this isn't to say that it works all the time. The Devil is a Part-Timer, for example, was a 2013 anime made by White Fox Studios. The style does look similar to some works that A1 Pictures does, sort of like Sword Art Online. But after 10 years of waiting, yeah, almost 10 years of waiting for a Season 2, fans got... Arguably, the style is closer to the light novel style, but it is not what fans were waiting for. Now, before you get on me and say something like, "Oh, this doesn't happen all the time, this doesn't happen just because," yes, I know that there are reasons why these transitions happen in the first place. Sometimes they're for the right reasons, and other times they're not. High School DxD is known for its harem comedy action scenes that were done by Studio TNK. For the first 3 seasons of the show, it created a good style for the buxom devil girls of Kuo Academy, just so Issei can get his perv on. The style was nice, it looked clean, the girls looked pretty well done. So how did we get from Ria's Grummery looking like this to this? Okay, I've never read the light novel or the manga from this series before the anime, so I have no idea how authentic the plot is, especially given the context that this series is known for. But from what I've gathered, the creator Ishibumi was not happy with TNK moving away from his creation's storyline. This does make me wonder what the original storyline is even like. I've read Rosario the Vampire, and you can notice when a studio meddles between a storyline between the anime and the manga source material. Because of the interference from the studio, a new one was decided for Season 4 onward, and that was Studio Passion. changing the style from one that looked pretty close to the original light novel style, which is really soft, almost like a body pillow with little to no hard edges at all. So yeah, if the creator of a show does not like what the studio is doing with their project, it is within their right to pull from it for a more faithful adaptation. It's their creation, but they should expect the backlash if the fans got used to the original style. At least DxD looked way more presentable than what we got for our next bad example. If you're a big studio like A1 Pictures, chances are you'll be swamped with too much work for the budget. So a studio change is likely to happen. Animation is an art style that takes a long time and a lot of money. But if given enough time, it can look great and worth every penny and every second for the fans to finally shower with praise upon completion. Humans are visual creatures. We rely on our sense of sight the most. It's not just the story that needs to be engaging, but also the animation. I mean, would any Sword Art Online fan still like the series, even if the anime looked like... Yeah, you all know this was coming. If you're a Seven Deadly Sins fan, you know and abhor this change. A1 Pictures, how dare you do this to us? A1 Pictures animated the first 2 seasons of Seven Deadly Sins, making the franchise a top-tier shonen anime at the time. Heck, I still remember when Anime Uproar covered this series weekly. God, that makes me sound so old. Now, what should a big-time anime with brand recognition do in between seasons? Do they use their funds to make an epic season 3 that will not disappoint the fans? No, you stupid! You pull a One Piece and make a freaking movie in between the seasons. Not only that, but you make it a Netflix exclusive. You especially don't give it proper marketing so people will know what to be excited about. If it's got a lot of fans already, then you don't have to try. They'll know. Jet fuel can't melt steel beams. But in all seriousness, this movie, while good intentions were given, it was a big mistake. It barely got advertised inside and outside of Japan, and keeping it as a Netflix exclusive definitely was not helpful for the box office returns. While the movie was well animated, heck, I enjoyed watching the Endura fight on the Celestial Islands. It looked amazing. It sadly did not bring in the numbers that the studio needed, and it got dropped like a dead puppy in a sack full of rocks.
NANI? But if anything happened to him, I would kill everyone in this room and then myself.
Don't give me that expression. You know what they did. If that wasn't bad enough, Studio Dean took over the animation for the next 2 seasons and the movie Cursed by Light. But since they were on such a time crunch, Dean had some assistance from Barbie Jack, and you can barely tell the freaking difference. So what was once the popular 7 Deadly Sins became the infamous 7 Deadly Frames. Season 3 could have been the anime's most popular season, with numerous action scenes that many were waiting for to get animated, including King and Diane vs. Droll and Gloxinia, the infamous Holy War 3,000 years ago, with the Endura transformations of Derriere and Monspeed. There's also the 7 Deadly Sins vs. Melascula, the 7 Deadly Sins vs. Chandler, the epic reveal of the Demon King and the Supreme Deity, you know, the parents of Meliodas and Elizabeth, their literal godparents, and of course, the biggest fight many fans of the anime and manga were waiting for, and was fumbled the worst, Escanor vs. Meliodas. What should have been the most popular fight of the series, more epic than Escanor vs. Estarossa, turned into a very crappy Beyblade battle. Yeah, there's a reason when I hear this news, I get worried. You don't want to be a 7 Deadly Frame. I get the reasons behind these changes. These transitions are for understandable or infuriating reasons, but it's not the fans that should accept these reasons, but the studios as well. they need to remember the fans. Best case scenario, they turn to the manga and the original source material so they can continue the story. After all, if the anime quality tanks, at least they still get to support the original content. The worst case scenario is that you lose a fan altogether. What if they were anime only and they won't even bother looking up the original source material because, shocker, the change left such a bad taste in their mouth they won't even try. I won't deny that studio style alterations can be done for the better, but you can't ignore the downgrades that get acquired and the backlash that will follow if a studio change is done badly. If a fan base can enjoy the anime after the studio style alteration, that's good. Maybe something was done right for the better. But if something wasn't broken, then why bother trying to change it? What could have been gold and priceless could sadly be turned into nothing and worthless. And that's something that studios should sadly consider before making the big change. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld. Which anime do you think was changed for the better, and which ones were changed for the worse? Let me know in the comments if you love anime in general, doesn't matter the series. Let me know in the comment which one is your favorite. Maybe I'll get around to covering them sometime in the near future. If you love this video, give it a like, subscribe to the Anime Underworld, and we'll be out with more content very soon. This has been Dante from the Anime Underworld, and I'll see you mortals later.